Ladies, young ladies, and gentlemen, good evening once again. Good evening to all of you. Once again, you are welcome here on the Éveil de Conscience platform. In international news, American President Donald Trump is overwhelmed by Russia's stance regarding the prospect of peace between Russia and Ukraine. Russia's attitude is beyond what Washington can handle. The strikes continue, massive strikes, and Vladimir Putin shows no desire to finally meet with Zelensky to discuss peace and bring peace between the two countries. So, faced with such a situation, Donald Trump, who had announced his temporary withdrawal from the Russia-Ukraine negotiations, has now come back into the picture. So, the White House has taken an official position, a position widely echoed by Western, European, and American media such as Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal. This now firm stance from the United States of America shows a certain laxity, weariness on America's part. And Donald Trump wants to quickly put an end to the situation. Trump is giving Russia a 2-week ultimatum to move things forward toward peace. 2 weeks. You see? It seems strange. Trump had already given ultimatums to Russia before, which were useless. But this time, if in the earlier cases they were just simple statements, this time it's an official stance from the American government, which sees its credibility at stake. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this video conference, of course, this is the current event we are going to discuss. But before we continue, I humbly ask you to share the video conference as much as possible in all the groups you can. Give it lots of likes. And above all, don't forget, if you haven't yet downloaded your Moyen Express app. If you're African, you need to download the Moyen Express app. Yes. Download it. There you go. Let's dive deeper. What exactly did Donald Trump say? According to official information, American President Donald Trump declared that he was giving Moscow a 2-week deadline to show concrete signs in favor of a peace process. Since he has already shown many concrete signs, Moscow, in turn, must show concrete signs that it wants peace. And what exactly do these concrete signs involve? Moscow still needs to start preparing for a face-to-face meeting with Zelensky. That's the final point. It's the last barrier to move toward peace. Because everything that was peripheral, such as territorial issues, there you go, whatever is needed to achieve peace, Donald Trump has resolved it all. Because he put pressure on Kiev by saying that Kiev must accept an agreement on Russia's terms. That's undeniable. That already means that Russia has won the war. Russia has also won the peace negotiations. But why does Vladimir Putin keep being so stubborn? Why? Who does this guy think he is anyway? That's the question that keeps nagging at Donald Trump's mind. Yes, but since he wants to play fair, Donald Trump says, you have 2 weeks. Within this 2-week period, there must be concrete signs showing that Russia wants to move toward peace. Because we've accepted everything. We want to negotiate peace on Russia's terms, not Ukraine's terms, not Europe's terms. Why won't Putin agree to take the step to make a move? So, Putin is playing games with us? So, Donald Trump threatened to impose massive sanctions, either massive tariffs, or it will be massive tariffs, or even a combination. Yes, it will be massive sanctions or massive tariffs, or a combination of both. But a little later, Donald Trump clarified. He said that this decision was intended to push Russia to make a move. But he also added a phrase that is very ambiguous. Donald Trump added a sentence that is very complex. He said, either I sanction Russia, both sanctions combined, or I do nothing. Since it's not our war, it's your war. That means you handle this among yourselves over there. What does America have to do with this? So, what should be said is that it's a tone mixing firmness and distancing, which reflects Donald Trump's particular style, which aims to put maximum pressure on both sides, while reminding everyone that he doesn't want the United States to bear the burden of the conflict alone. This is the Europeans' war. This is Russia's war with Ukraine. If the United States intervenes, it is just to help them find a consensus. That's all. Otherwise, America has no business being involved in this. Share the video conference with me. The power just went out. Yes? There you go. The power has just gone out on us. We'll deal with it. And so here's the position that Donald Trump is currently taking. So, what will be the impacts? What could be the prospects if Donald Trump actually carries out his threat? If the deadline passes and Russia does not act, if Donald Trump follows through on his threat, what will actually happen? It should be noted that at first, if the United States implements the new massive sanctions, the first targets would be Russian banks. Russian banks will be targeted first. The energy sector and sensitive technologies will also be targeted. This will directly impact the Russian economy. That's clear. It will affect the Russian economy, but also some partner countries that trade with Moscow. So this brings us back to the massive sanctions proposed by Senator Lindsey Graham. That's it. And this is a very severe, very dangerous sanction, one that even Russia itself would not want to be subjected to. Already, the 18th package of sanctions that has been deployed by the European Union is already wearing Russia down, more or less. Even though Russia is fighting tooth and nail not to feel the impact, it is still wearing Russia down. All the more so if, obviously, Donald Trump goes ahead and applies Lindsey Graham's massive sanctions. So that's on one hand, but on the other hand, if Trump chooses the path of tariffs, the effect would be even more global. Russia would have an even harder time selling, well, I should say offloading, its oil and gas. Yes, and international supply chains would be disrupted. So in either case, whether it's massive sanctions or tariffs, if America follows through on its threat, if Trump carries out his threat, it will inevitably have an impact on Russia. So, in both cases, Russia would come under increased pressure. But the impact could also spill over to third countries like India or China, which trade heavily with Moscow. So this could open another Pandora's box. So, what is Russia's reaction to this ultimatum? In one of our upcoming video conferences, that's exactly what we'll be discussing. So thank you all very much. Thank you for sharing the video conference as much as possible. I'll be back with more news shortly. This was the voice of your one and only Samurai.